Jalal as a historian. She is a Pakistani American historian born in Lahore in 1956 in the house of Hamid Jalal, who was senior Pakistan civil servant. She has close relationship with Urdu writer Saadat Hassan Manto, as Aisha's grandmother was the sister of Manto. Moreover, the wife of Manto, Safia, was the sister of Ayesha Jalal's mother. She is married to Indian historian and she is currently serving as the professor of history at Tufts University. She did her BA in history and political science from Wellesley College, USA, and she obtained her PhD degree in history from Trinity College at University of Cambridge. Her PhD dissertation was about Jinnah, the Muslim League, and demand for Pakistan. Most of her work deals with creation of Muslim identities in modern South Asia. She has received many awards like Trinity College Cambridge Fellowship 1918 and 1984, MacArthur Foundation Fellowship, Sitara Imtiaz by President of Pakistan in 2009. She has written many books: The State of Martial Law, The Origin of Pakistan's Political Economy of Defense, The Sole Spokesman Jinnah, The Muslim League and the Demand for Pakistan, Democracy and Authoritarianism in South Asia, a Comparative and Historical Perspective, Nationalism, Democracy and Development, State Politics in India, Self-sovereignty, individual and community in South Asian Islam since 1850, Partisans of Allah, Jihad in South Asia, Modern South Asia, History, Culture, Political Economy, The Pity of Partition, Manto's Lifetimes and Work Across India-Pakistan Divide, The Struggle for Pakistan, a Muslim Homeland and Global Politics. The main argument of Ayesha Jalal's book, The Sole Spokesman's Jinnah, the Muslim League, and the Demand for Pakistan, is that Muslim League's demand of separate homeland was not true intention of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, because from the very beginning he wanted that Muslims should get more power at center, so he always kept it vague to master maximum support of Muslims and strategically used it merely for forcing Congress for equitable settlement with more autonomy to Muslim and center. According to Aisha, Muhammad Ali Jinnah was always reluctant to idea of separate electorate. On contrary, he was on the side of united government and wanted to get rid of British. He thought inwardly that creation of separate homeland for Muslims is not full solution to the problems of Indian Muslims. But the attitudes of Congress, British policies and provisionalism and demand of provisional autonomy by Muslim in Muslim majority provinces like Punjab and Bengal forced him to take the road of partition, which was the only partial solution of preservations of Indian Muslims' rights. Aisha Jalal argues that Islam should not be seen as the only driving force behind the creation of Pakistan. We should also trace other factors that were a driving force behind the creation of Pakistan. It is very necessary to see its creation by studying twin dialectics in modern South Asian history: all India nationalism and religious based communalism, as well as centralism and regionalism. The principal aim behind this work of Aisha Jalal was to tease out the inwardness of real political aims of Muhammad Ali Jinnah and All India Muslim League in the final decade of British Raj in India. This book, The Sole Spokesman, questions the existing ruling orthodoxies about historical processes that led to partition of subcontinent. Aisha Jalal started her argument by discussing two most common arguments of historians regarding the partition of 1947. The one is about that Indian Muslims as a separate community with their own culture and tradition. It supports the two nation theory. And the second argument, which is very common, is role of imperialism in dividing the two communities, divide and rule policy. According to Ayesha Jalal, these theories raise more questions than they answer. She makes us to think that how Pakistan failed to satisfy the interest of every Muslim who are supposed to have demanded its creation. Partition of Punjab and Bengal. It deprived the Muslims of benefits of undivided provinces. Punjab lost its fertile eastern districts Ambala, Ludhiana and Jalandhar. Similarly, Bengal lost capital city Calcutta, which was an economic heart at that time. Muslim minority provinces were the main beneficiaries of creation of Pakistan with their small and predominantly Muslim population. But Muslims of Sindh, NWFP, Balochistan had one thing common: their ferocious attachment to their customs and traditions and deep hostility to any central control. The partition merged all these into one state, and central control was handed over to Punjab for its survival. But all these provinces struggled to throw off the yoke of Punjab since independence. With this discussion, Aisha Jalal raised a question: how did a Pakistan come about which fitted the interest of most Muslims so poorly? To answer this question, she concentrated upon the politics of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the All India Muslim League, and demand for Pakistan during the last decade of British rule. She argues that until 1937, League continued to ground itself on the old Charter of Muslim rights, separate electorate. But after 1940, it formally demanded for independent Muslim state. She discussed that it was Jinnah and League's bid to register their claim to speak for all Indian Muslims, Muslim minority provinces plus majority provinces, and this claim was built on demand for Pakistan. She tried to identify the aims of Jinnah's political strategy, the reasons why he was so reluctant to bring them into open, and extent to which he succeeded or failed in reading them. Jinnah sought to be recognized as sole spokesman of Indian Muslims on all India stage. After 1930s, Jinnah's main concern was arrangement by which power at the center was to be shared once the British quit India. But for this, Jinnah needed a mandate from Presidency, so she tried to study how and to what extent Jinnah was able to win that mandate. She further argues that Jinnah's appeal to religion was always ambiguous. Certainly, it was not characteristic of his political style before 1937, and evidence suggests that his use of communal factor was a political tactic, not an ideological commitment. So, she raised the question whether Jinnah was able to deploy the communal court to his advantage and how far it constrained or helped him in achieving his political aim. For writing this book, she used many primary sources. She further analyzed the role of Congress and British in creation of Pakistan from Jinnah angle of vision. Primary sources which she utilized for studying the cause of 1947 of partitions were transfer of power documents from British and Muslim League papers, private correspondence of Jinnah himself. The book is divided into 7 chapters. The first chapter is about Jinnah between the wars. The second chapter deals with Jinnah's League search for survival. The third chapter is about Jinnah Muslim majority provinces. The chapter 4 is about center and province, Shimla, and elections of 1945 to 1946. And chapter 5 is about Jinnah's Pakistan and cabinet mission plan. Chapter 6 deals with interim government Jinnah in retreat. And the last chapter is about the end game and Mountbatten and partition. Now we are going to discuss about another book of Ayesha Jalal, The Pity of Partition, Manto's Life, Times and Work Across India-Pakistan Divide, which is published in 2013. The Pity of Partition deals with the issue of partition from a novel perspective. It links an individual writer's life and his body of work with historical events. It highlights the realistic fiction of life and other genres of writing and interlinks the history and literature. The work captures Manto's life and looks at historical event of partition from Manto's point of view by arguing that Manto's writing was not fiction or just the social realities of his time but a depiction of real people who were around him. This book is a fresh departure from her earlier works on high politics of partition and the discourses of Muslim communitarian identity. While building on those works, she thinks that micro historical detail can illuminate the texture of macro historical change. She wanted to develop a new historical methodology that imaginatively connects the fictional and historical narrative in an attempt to embellish the historian's craft. In this book, she used primary sources like stories, memories in the form of personality sketch, essays on post colonial transition, Manto's letter to Uncle Sam. The book opens with a prelude, Monto's partition, which is followed by three chapters that are subdivided into three parts. The first chapter, Stories, is further divided into three parts. The first part is about knives, daggers, and bullets cannot destroy the religion. Second chapter is Amritsar, Dreams of Revolution. Third, Bombay, Challenges and Opportunities. And the second chapter, Memories, contains remembering partition from Samina City to conquering airwaves, living and walking Bombay. And third chapter, histories include partition, neither and nor beginning on the post-colonial moment, Pakistan and Uncle Sam's Cold War. The three chapters can be understood as the Monto stories, Monto's memories, and Monto's as a part and viewer of histories. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe my channel. Allah Hafiz.